special edition of the Burgh Cave. Well, my man Craig Burton from Beer We Go. How are you, bud?
I'm doing real well, man. How about yourself?
Doing well, doing well. What we wanted to do here was give everybody a backstory on Beer We Go and Burgh Cave and how we're merging here to do some really cool things for the community, to really expand man caves in your man cave virtually as you watch our videos and hang out with us, as well as some things locally here in the Pittsburgh area to start, and then we'll see where this goes. So this is going to be a fun conversation.
Looking forward to it. This is awesome. Thanks so much for having me on.
Absolutely,
man.
absolutely.
Really appreciate it.
Sip of the Miller Lite here for we got to have the interview juice here.
Absolutely.
So for everybody who doesn't know, Craig and I actually met in college at RMU, or actually RMC.
RMC.
It was actually a college. So,
and do you know the difference between a college and a university?
It's more of the enrollment size, right?
So a college will provide undergraduate classes, but a university provides undergraduate and graduate.
Aha. I thought I did. You know, that's actually kind of cool because my undergrad is Robert Morris College and my graduate degree or master's degree is Robert Morris University. So that's actually, honestly, I should have known that. Shame on you, Robert Morris, for letting me know that, but I should have known that. So,
you think with all the money we spend, we could have...
Oh, man, with that and the kids and everything. So how, obviously we spent some time at Robert Morris. We won't get into too much of that. But, that's another episode about what we did at RMU. Or RMC. It was a good time. But
that was fun.
When you left Robert Morris,
mm-hmm.
And you were doing, getting into the professional world, you started, I don't know if you started right away, but you did some work with Budweiser.
Yeah,
and you did some of that. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so I did get a marketing degree from Robert Morris, so thank you very much for that. Definitely helped out with kind of like the creation and what we've done with Beer We Go. But I got a job right out of college, and I worked for Frankfurt Wholesale. And at the time, they were the distributor for both Coors and Budweiser.
Yeah.
Fortunately for me, my dad worked in cars and sold them all their fleets of vehicles and knew the guy. So it's always good to know someone.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Networking is
I was going to say the degree is important, but networking is just as important.
Absolutely. And so they I had an interview with Coors.
Mm-hmm.
And coming right out of college, I'm like, I don't drink Coors. It's tough to be able to believe in something or sell something that you don't believe in. I was a Budweiser drinker my whole life. So yeah. I kind of was pushing my dad towards, hey, whenever they got a Bud opening, let me get that one.
I used to love Budweiser myself until it started giving me headaches for some reason.
Well, that's because of the rice.
Okay. Well,
go
ahead.
Anyway, so I did get a call a couple weeks later and got an interview with the Bud division, and I was able to secure a position with them. And my first job with them was it was called the CMT, the Contemporary Marketing Team. But really, all I did was go around to different bars and do promotions. So I gave out T-shirts, gave out keychains, and we played games and stuff like that. But it was all to promote the beer.
Right.
So Budweiser, we didn't do a lot of Budweiser promotions because they were really starting to push Bud Light at the time. Budweiser was still the flagship beer, but Bud Light was really starting, and now Bud Light is obviously their flagship beer. But so I had a little bit to do with help promoting that and getting a little bit better. So we'll see.
So you've already looked. You had a lot of experience then as you were forming into the Beer We Go backstory, is seeing how communities interact in local bars, different local bars, because we know local bars have different themes. Some are just like your watering hole, like your dive bars.
Right.
Some are more community-based and things of that nature. So talk about some things that you learned, in the bar and how people like interact like with, maybe extracurricular activities, but just how people in different communities interact with each other when they're actually, in a social situation here.
One of the big things that, as a beer rep, and I'm sure if other beer reps are watching this, you can attest to this. When you walk into a bar and they know you're a beer rep, the first thing they ask is, can I have a T-shirt?
Right.
Whether they're drinking your beer or not,
they want a T-shirt.
Give me a T-shirt.
I don't even like your beer, but I want a T-shirt.
I don't care. I just want a T-shirt. Okay. Free stuff all the time. So, but that was funny because I would always test people and say, there's an acronym for the word Budweiser, and if people knew it, I would give them a shirt, whether they were drinking Budweiser or not. Usually I made them buy a Bud, or I'd buy them one. give them a little bit of help. But
What was the acronym?
it's because you deserve what every individual should enjoy regularly. At least that's what I learned.
Wow, wow. How about that? And you still recall that? That's impressive.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I would use that, and most people didn't know that. So I gave myself an out. I got
Yeah.
to keep most of my T-shirts, especially away from the ones that were drinking like Iron City or
Yeah.
something like
Yeah. Exactly.
that. You
Okay.
know, but doing promotions there, I saw a need, and all bars want to be promoted. They want to showcase themselves, even the little ones. I mean, I did
Yeah.
a lot of promotions in little bars too, you know, little dive bars, and it was fun. It was very intimate in those places,
Hmm.
but we were still able to bring a lot of people because going to Robert Morris, I was a part of fraternity.
Yeah.
You know, being able to still be friends with those guys and taking them to promotions, because I'll tell you what, all my friends love drinking for free.
Absolutely.
You
So
know,
who
they
doesn't
loved
really?
whenever I got a job with Budweiser because they had an in, you know. So you know, and it was an opportunity to hang out with a lot of friends
So
too.
you were talking about what the phrase of the question was how different communities interact and how they work, interact in bars and things like that. So by bringing your buddies along with you, they're interacting with people from different communities, and but the commonality is free stuff, T-shirts. But there's also some type of, when you're in those bars, the conversations are sports. They're
Hmm.
memories, Friday Night Light memories, uh,
College memories.
college memories. Friday Night Lights, whether it's football or afternoons with baseball, soccer, whatever you played in high school or in college. Talk about some of the things that you heard, maybe a story or so that something that what I these are just some really really cool stories, or you kind of got invested in a story even though you didn't go to their high school or
Yeah,
their college or community.
yeah. Well, so the bars that so I started in distributors after I was in a promotion rep. Um, Going to a lot of distributors is where I got to kind of relate with some of the community.
Yeah.
And then from there, you know, I didn't do a lot of promotions for distributors, but I did have, and if people remember Steve the Man Rohan from 97 Rock,
Okay. Yeah, I remember
well,
that
I
name.
used to do a lot of promotions with him at the beer distributor. So that was a lot of fun. So I got, it was kind of cool because I got to find out like from a celebrity, at least a local celebrity. It was like, hey, I'm hanging out with Steve Rohan. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I got to call him up on the radio and be like, I got right to Steve and get the, you know, request a song or something like that. But whenever I went into the bar part after doing just promotions and doing just beer distributors, I was put in some of the areas that weren't around my house. So
Yeah.
now I got to see different areas and how they would do their things. I will say the one bar that really stuck with me, and it was somewhat of sports, but it was the sport of billiards. And the reason why I say that is whenever I got the route in Millvale, there was a bar
Yeah.
called Sweeney's.
Okay.
And when I went in there and I introduced myself to the owner and I told him my last name, he looked at me and said, I knew your grandfather. I used to hang out at his pool room down on the north side
Ah.
whenever I was a kid. And then
Gotcha.
right there, it was just like, you know what, this is going to be really cool. And that was one of my best bars. And it
Yeah.
was in Millville, and it was a little dive bar, a little Irish bar. But I'll tell you what, they would go to bat for me for anything. You know, if I needed a new product that needed to be sold, they'd bring it in.
They bring it in.
You
They would
know,
sell it in their
yep,
bar. Okay.
they would. So, you know, a lot of loyalty. And obviously we, being the Steelers, or the Budweiser was the NFL sponsor at that time.
Okay.
I was able to give out a lot of Steelers stuff and got to meet some of the Steelers, got to go down to the practice facilities and things like that. And, you know, that was really neat. And I got to take customers with me.
Ah.
So
Okay.
now, you know, they were starting to see, you know, people really didn't come and visit them much. I mean, yeah, they would have their reps come in, here's a couple table tents, here's some new beer. But at the end of the day, they wanted to be kind of viewed as, you know, some of these larger bars and things like
Yeah.
that. And I learned that from the distributors because
Gotcha.
there's small distributors, and at the time there were a lot larger ones. And it seemed like the larger ones were always getting everything, and the smaller ones. Well, I grew up being, hey man, I'm like the small guy, so I'm trying to help out the smaller ones and help them grow. And really, you know, by working together, we were all able to grow.
Yeah. That's a great story about a small bar in Millville. And if you go around the city of Pittsburgh, if anybody's watched us outside of the city, and if you've experienced people from Pittsburgh in another city or in Pittsburgh, there's always a 6 degrees of separation from
Mm-hmm.
somebody.
Right.
Right? You always know my dad knew your dad. My dad was best friends with your uncle. He was a drinking buddy in college that we did. It is kind of funny that no matter where you go in this city, there's a lot of that community feeling. Even though if you're whether you're out towards Swickley, Robinson, if you're in Millville, New Kensington, even if you're out towards Greensburg, things like that, there's still a sense of community. It's like the joke of hey, I'm from Pittsburgh. In reality, you're like an hour
Yeah.
outside the city, right? It's still that community feeling, and it's kind of like what the Burgh Cave was about too. And I think also what Beer We Go was kind of about too, learning some of those things that you've learned in the bars.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe you took some of that and the things you've learned as an inspiration to form Beer We Go. And obviously, how and what and where did Beer We Go come from? Was it stemming from the bar, from college, and from interactions with buddies and things like that?
Yeah.
Where did Beer We Go start, and where did the idea come from?
So it was a funny story. It actually started with the Steelers. We were at a Steeler tailgate. One of our buddies had a couple too many.
Okay. That never happens, by the
No,
way. I
no,
mean,
no, no.
That's such a unique outlier.
Yeah, but at one point in time, we thought he was trying to say, "Here we go, Steelers,"
Mm-hmm.
but he was mumbling so much, it's like,
Talking,
like,
he was talking cursive.
"Are you saying beer we go, Steelers?" And we're like, so of course, guys, they like to bust balls. We made T-shirts to make fun of them,
Okay.
and really, that was it. It was just, hey. But as I thought about it more, and going to my job, working for Budweiser, I'm like, you know what? There might be something here.
Okay.
But at the time, right out of college, I was dumb. I was young. I didn't really know what was going on. Tried to get rid of a couple, wasn't very successful. So it just kind of like couched it for a while. And then a while turned into like 15, 20 years.
So, but the idea never went away.
Right?
It was
No.
It was more like what vehicle can I use to start
Yeah.
getting this out there because of what you've learned and what you saw in bars
Mm-hmm.
and Steeler games, and then just experiences with your friends.
Right. And sometimes I come up with crazy little ideas like characters or whatever,
Yeah.
and eventually I'll talk more about those later. But those
Actual
kinds
characters,
of things,
not imaginary friends.
right?
but just
Exactly.
characters.
Well,
Yeah,
they could be imaginary friends. They turned into characters.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Right. But and just kind of always wanted to sell T-shirts.
Yeah.
Anytime we would go on vacation or whatever, like back in the day, there was like the Big Johnson or Whoop Ass or something like that. Always wanted to get something catchy, something to throw out there because I love T-shirts. And
Do you remember when you speak of that? I don't want to interrupt.
Yeah,
you love T-shirts. Do you remember when there was the college hats? They were just white. They just had like
Yep.
It would say
was
like
by
North
the game.
Carolina. Right, it's about the name, and I think one of the best selling.
The brand was the Game.
Oh, was it the Game?
Yep, I love those.
And
hats.
I'll never forget that was popular even when we were in college, even outside, in the early 2000s after college. The most popular hat was South Carolina.
Yeah, because
it said Cox on it. Exactly.
Yep.
And it was like,
and the other one was Morehead State.
Morehead State. I think there was one, Heels was North Carolina and some others, but they not only took the name of the college, but they just threw the whole, again, obviously, as you know, South Carolina's Gamecocks.
Mm-hmm.
They're just going to put Cox up there, and it's sold like crazy and stuff because of that. So, when you say, you like the T-shirts and the brandings and like that, is that something that, you're seeing like, what, this is what I want to do with Beer We Go, whether it's just a saying or just making different T-shirts?
Yeah, and with Beer We Go too, it's originated in Pittsburgh. It's based off of Pittsburgh values and colors and teams and things like that. But Beer We Go, Pittsburgh's not the only town that people drinking beer in. And Pittsburgh's not the only town that there's people love their sports and things like that. So with that, it was really open game. Did a lot of different color combinations for each team. Then started looking at college teams because I'm a huge Ohio State fan. So of course Beer We Go. I'm thinking, oh, I can do all kinds of stuff with their colors and things like that. And OH. But
That'll be edited out, by the way. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
IO.
Okay.
And but really, it can go to so many different things, and it's like a sentence. When I was working with bars, nobody really had anything to kind of promote them.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like beer we go to celebrations, or beer we go to the hangar,
Yeah.
or beer we go to Steel City Saloon, something like that.
Yeah.
Where I could kind of co-brand with the bars, and that's some of the things that we're doing with right now too. But when we were coming up with it, it's fun ideas, but life was also happening, becoming an adult, getting married, having
Yeah.
children, going through difficult times.
Sure. Sure.
And so those kinds of things weren't necessarily at top of mind awareness.
Sure.
But one day, my partner, Sean, my best friend since I was 5 years old, is like my brother, my big brother. And he just said to me, hey, why don't we do something with Beer We Go? Let's bring that back.
Okay.
And after I thought about it for a couple of days, I was like, you know what? I got the resources now.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so crazy because 2 days after I decided, yeah, let's kind of do this, I ran into an old buddy of mine. He was doing social media. That's my man, Damien. He's now doing my social media.
Right.
A couple of days later, I met a girl at our gym. Her name is Haley. See her doing artwork. Next thing you know, she's now my graphics designer. All these things started lining up, and I thought to myself, maybe we actually do have something. So let's see what we can do.
Seems like everything is falling in place for you. Yeah.
Yeah, and I had a lot of ideas, and then when these things started happening, ideas just started flooding, and I just writing everything down. I got this notebook of all kinds of scratch and little artwork and things like that, and kind of a whole map of where I'd like to take this. But obviously, you got to start somewhere. So right now, it's just about maybe get our website together, make some T-shirts, go out, utilize my experience in bars and promotions and things. And now it's not about just promoting a beer, but it's promoting your official drinking apparel.
Yeah.
And the bar. And now, because the beer companies, they're out there, they want to promote their beer, they're working with the bars and beer distributors and things like that. Well, because of my experience with that, I know how to work with all of them.
Yeah.
And how everybody can kind of eat, sort of say.
Yeah. So it's like taking that community feel and putting it in each bar.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And each bar, no matter where you're from or what you like hanging out in a bar, or you like, at least even if you only frequent the bar once or twice a year.
Mm-hmm.
We're not. It's a Beer We Go. I know from talking to Craig. This is not like, hey, let's go talk to the alcoholics and people who drink all the beers.
Right.
It's people who just like to go out and hang with friends. And it obviously at times that's going to be at your favorite local bars.
Yeah. And sometimes people don't want to buy a team, but they love the colors and still want to be able to support it, and they like the drink. So it's something to celebrate, and it's kind of fun. So it's like, here we go.
That's right. Yeah. And you know what? And it's a great slogan. I think it's a slogan that, like you said, it's born in Pittsburgh, but it could be something that's nationwide.
And that's what we hope for. I mean,
yeah. And you're going to have in a bar, Beer We Go with Steeler colors. And I've seen it already. You're gonna have Beer We Go with Ohio State colors. You're gonna have Beer We Go with other colors. You
Pitt
do some
colors.
with exactly, with Pitt colors. You're gonna have it with St. Patrick's Day. You do some of the St. Patrick's Day stuff too.
And Robert Morris too.
And Robert Morris, absolutely.
Robert Morris.
Absolutely. So yeah, it's a good thing, man. And I like that you took lessons you learned from a beer rep, put it into an idea, and then you kept the idea. And it wasn't until then you kind of got the kick in the butt, aside from your buddy. But then also, just like anybody else, you have a good idea. You need help from you need help from people.
Yeah, you can't. It's tough to do it on your own.
It's tough to do it on your own. You got to be able to accept help, and long as you have people that are work with you that will buy into your vision, but also be able to bring something else to the table, it's how you're going to grow. And I can tell you here locally in the Pittsburgh area, I've seen these shirts around. And it's
we're getting them out there.
It's pretty good.
People are buying them.
Absolutely.
On beerwego.com.
There we go. Absolutely. It's good stuff, man.
I appreciate it. So tell me, how I know when we kind of reconvened
Mm,
back in 2011 after after college and things. I was working in energy
yeah,
and just happened to be in the same
complex,
office
office
building,
complex. Yeah,
and we run into each other. And I know you had mentioned something at the time that you had this idea, but you know because I know after 2011 we spent a little bit of time together, maybe like about a year,
yeah, a year
and
or
then
so.
you moved on
Yeah.
and got got your house, family, everybody back up here. But tell me a little bit about how you came up with the Burgh Cave
Oh yeah.
and you know were able to bring this to life.
Yeah, man, appreciate that. So the Burgh Cave started as anybody who is into sports loves to watch sports shows.
Mm-hmm.
We love to talk. When you're guys and you get into a man cave, you're on a patio, you're a cookout, a bonfire. Within a minute, somebody's talking about sports. If you're a Steeler fan, you're talking about the Steelers. You love what they do. You complain about them. You do all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And probably in the mid 2000s to about 2007 or so, it started to kind of turn like the talk shows weren't really as appealing as they once were. And I was living in Florida at the time, and this was before we ran each other again in 2011.
Mm-hmm.
We wanted to start what's called a podcast. It in 2007, 2008 was when the term podcast became prevalent with Apple Computer, with the GarageBand software and things like that. But
Yeah.
there wasn't the
Oh,
the
the
paths.
garage band
Yeah, there
software. I
wasn't the
remember that.
path to production, or there wasn't really a lot of vehicles to get them out there. It would be you would record it locally and you would save it in your iTunes library as you would your favorite song. So the want to produce these was always slow to come. So fast forward into 2020 when COVID hit,
Mm-hmm.
we were forced to talk over webcams and talk
Yeah.
over the internet. If you remember a lot of the virtual happy hours everybody did, when we weren't allowed to leave our house. So that kind of forced our hand to my high school buddies and I just getting on and hitting record. And at the time, a high school friend of mine knew how to record and post to, I think Buzzsprout at that time was what he posted. And we just started recording audio only. And that just kind of caught fire a little bit, because what I mean by that a little bit is we weren't hot take guys. We were just literally hitting record, and it was no different than we were sitting here in the couch or on the deck just talking
Mm-hmm.
ball.
Well,
And,
you played.
yeah, and yeah, I mean, thank you. Yeah, yeah. I played at Robert Morris, which I was very thankful to play for Joe Walton. Played in a pro style offense, so I got to learn the X's and O's very, very well. I got to learn it from an NFL level, and not that my opinions are any better than anybody's, but they're a little more informed just because I've lived through the offense, and I've
Mm-hmm.
seen a couple different variations of the offense. And obviously, I'm a nerd, and I still study different offenses just for fun, like you would. People take up history, or they take up any type of other um, topic that you just love to be a part of and love to research. So we started to record more, and then the podcast first name actually was Uppity Yinzers for my buddy
Oh,
GB,
okay,
right? It
okay.
was
So
actually
that
Uppity
makes
Yinzers. We kind of came up with that
I like that.
collectively, and then and Gabe said, you know what, this is a good name. He made the
Yep.
first logo and everything. And if you've watched the channel, now that is GB's alter ego, if
Right.
you will, is an Uppity Yinzer.
Well, I did not know that. That's
Yeah.
pretty crazy because I always see him wear the Uppity Yinzer
Yes,
shirts on the
yes.
show, and
Yeah, and so we recorded a few episodes, but you had mentioned life gets in the way.
yeah,
So what would happen is we would record an episode, and it wouldn't get posted till like the following week. And actually, there was times where we would record the next episode, and the previous episode didn't even publish yet, because my buddy at the time obviously he was going through some professional changes with jobs and things like that. And hey, that is way more important than this. So what happened was kind of similar with your Beer We Go, is it kind of just fell off the wayside. And my buddy GB, shout out to the KMF network, built his own insurance business. So that took precedence away from the podcast. But because of the few shows that we did publish, I had a couple of friends locally in my neighborhood into this area that were interested. And so I thought, hey, you guys want to start one? We were all busy, but because we live locally,
Mm-hmm.
we could literally pick up the phone or text, hey, you want to record something tonight? And they'd come over and re-record.
Right.
So
Because
we,
you're gonna hang out and talk anyways.
because we hung out anyway. So we came up with, the Burgh Man Cave. And through other issues, we dropped the word man and became Burgh Cave.
Which I love, by the way. It's
Yeah,
an awesome name.
appreciate that. And then obviously we went and did, and then a lot of other episodes. So if you've seen the channel, you've seen a myriad of people on here regularly.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't until about a year and a half ago or so we went on to YouTube, and we're obviously, and we're growing.
That's awesome.
We're growing since. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you being on here because I was never one to listen to podcasts and things like that, but when I ran into you at Dick's Sporting Goods,
Mhm.
which to this day is still a crazy story of how I ran into you.
Yeah, tell everybody how you
Yeah.
went, because actually that is kind of an odd story, and I think it's like,
it's weird.
because what you said about running into your graphic designer,
Yeah.
running into everybody else, it's kind of like the whole.
Right. So I'm at the mall and I'm just walking around because I need to get steps, and I sound like very old by saying I was a mall walker. But
I'm not there yet.
I was getting steps, and I noticed this little girl was standing there with like holding a bag and holding her baby doll, and she was crying, and I didn't understand why. And then all of a sudden I heard from a distance, "You better hurry up or I'm leaving you." Well, it kind of bothered me, right?
Mhm.
Because this person's all the way over there, and it's because, well, the kid decides, you know what, I'm going to go. I'm going to leave. So she starts heading towards Dick's Sporting Goods. So I kind of like went the opposite way and went past this person. And I just mentioned to him, hey, you better go get her. That was all I said. So I walk and I go to the escalator to go downstairs. And I see this person that I just said that to walking towards the escalator.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you should be going towards the little girl. So by seeing her do that, I went down the escalator and went down to the bottom part of Dick's, because I figured, well, if she's going to be leaving the store, she's going to have to go downstairs. So I went to go look for her to make sure that she was okay. And I couldn't find her downstairs, so I thought maybe she'd be upstairs. And I come upstairs and I run right into you.
Yeah.
It was like that little girl was kind of leading me down the path because we were supposed to meet that day. And I know. Right? So
Yeah.
and then I said, you asked me what I'm doing. I'm still in energy and things like that. So that wasn't very fun to talk about. But I was like, hey, I got this my t-shirt, right? And I have my Beer We Go shirt on, and I showed you. And I'm like, what are you doing? And you're like, oh yeah, I'm doing a podcast. And what's it about? Oh, sports and beer reviews. And obviously the light bulbs all went off, and was like, we absolutely need to talk.
Collab.
We have to talk.
Yeah, and you know what? And it is a blessing because, then when we talked about this earlier with you with the networking, and the whole point of the Burgh Cave was, if you took that Google Maps guy and you dropped him at the edge of that bars that you visited, you've seen those communities. That's why I was asking you certain questions about that. And those conversations that are at the bar or at the pub table and things like that, those are some of the best conversations around there, because you're not on TV with an agenda. Excuse me, you're not on TV trying to promote yourself. You're just a group of friends talking sports, having a beer. So that's what the Burgh Cave was, you know what, not only are we going to talk sports, but we're also going to let you know what type of beers we like, whether it's a Miller Lite here or a lot of the craft beers around the area. Because again, the beers are something that's communal. Like, I'm an IPA guy, I'm a dark lager guy, things like that. So it's also something else to bring people together with common interests. And the Burgh Cave would not be, and again, Burgh Cave is still growing, but it would not be anything without collaborators, without partnerships. The Burgh Cave would be nothing without my man GB, the Uppity Ginzer.
Yeah.
The Burgh Cave would be nothing without Mr. Wonderful, Ball Thunder, without Jay Brown, the chef, without AJ Big Boy, without Lars, Flash Flood Freddy, Big Tone, Dixon, Jeff Shansky, Sean, all these guys. And then through mutual friends, Actually, Matt Dixon's another one, and through him, met Harry Paceros, aka the Pit Guru,
Yep, I met
who's
Harry at your
actually,
pit
who's
event.
actually,
Very
lives right
very
down the
cool
street.
guy.
Somebody that I've always known, but then
Mhm.
he introduced us, and then we did a pit preview show. So we started doing a few collabs, and then through a few of the YouTube videos that the Burgh Cave did, got linked up with JJ Kitchen, with
Mhm.
Talking Football with JJ Kitchen. He was nice enough to invite me on to his Sunday night conversations, and we started doing a lot of collaborations. And then people kind of liked the way that I was presenting and talking about pit football. Okay, and through pit football, now a lot of people have come over and started following the Burgh Cave. I would be nothing without those guys. And again, we're still growing, so we're still a small channel, but we're going to get there. And now it seems like that proverbial next step is collaborating with you and with Beer We Go,
Mhm.
because you've already been a part of the one of the pit meet
That
and greets and celebrations.
Yeah, that was a very fun event.
Yeah, and we're
Very
gonna
fun
be
event.
and we'll
Got
be
to meet all the pit players and Gavin Bartholomew. That was really cool.
absolutely, and there's more of that to come later on as well. Um, and this next step in this collaboration with getting some more Burgh Cave merch out there, and just people that want to support the channel,
Mhm.
that want to support Beer We Go as far as a bar and sports and beer community. It was like a partnership that was made to happen.
Yes,
And it's also
absolutely.
now, even though you're an Ohio State guy, you're becoming popular with the pit community.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And so on and so forth. So that's why whenever we ran into it, like you said, it was kind of like both light bulbs. It was like the cartoons, like, what's that thing when they go, oh,
Yeah, your
or that,
aha moment.
or it's like the cartoon light bulb just goes bing.
That was a big light bulb.
It was definitely a big light bulb, because you're an energy guy.
LED, by the way.
Yes, saves energy.
That would
Um,
definitely.
but I think this partnership that we're going to do here moving forward in 2026 and beyond, it's to really promote the community, the man cave community, the bar community,
Yep.
and whether you're in here hanging with us on YouTube or on X or whatever social media platform you're checking these out on, it's something that we hope when you're hanging with us or watching, you got a cold one and you're sitting there going like you're talking with us. I like, because Beer We Go he promotes it. As you can tell, Craig's got a lot of energy, but he's not an in your face like force it down. Here it is. It's great. Do you want to be a part of it? If you do, great. If not, no hard feelings. You're still a good guy,
Right.
good gal. Maybe we'll run our cross paths later on.
Yep.
And that's one thing I've liked about you as well. It's one thing I think why there's nothing to sign. We're not like there's no sign on a dotted line,
Right.
but there's something why you're going to have a collaboration. And I'm very happy to say whenever that new Beer We Go website's coming up, there will be a Burgh Cave section on there.
Absolutely.
And tell us about this new website,
So
and what your future is moving forward with Beer We Go.
yeah, so right now we have our regular website. So if you go to our Instagram, it's beer_we_go. Our link to our website, which is beerwego.com, is on
Yeah.
there. If you go there, you will see our old site.
Yeah.
It's very plain, because when starting out a business and trying to hit every single thing
gotta grow.
is difficult. And we what we felt was sufficient enough to get us off the ground.
Yeah.
Once we were able to sell a few of the shirts from there, then we were like, hey, we have enough now budgeted that we can kind of go and do what we
Yeah.
really wanted to do. And I am super, and I know Sean and Damien and Haley and my fiance Lauren, who's been instrumental in this, especially with making sure that I have the time to do all of that.
Mhm.
We're all super excited about what it's going to be, because our old website looks nothing like our new one, and our new one is.
It actually
I
looks
love
really
it.
good.
I love
Looks
it.
very
There's
good.
a lot of little cool little things, little Easter eggs on there, little stuff that little inside jokes.
Yeah.
They're all on there. But as you go through it, there is a huge section of there, so that the Burgh Cave, all of the episodes that have been published will be on there. Whenever a new one comes out, then you can see right away. There's going to be a section in our shop where you can purchase the Burgh Cave merch, co-branded stuff where it's
Yep.
Beer We Go and Burgh Cave. So and then there's a section which I think is really cool, is a customized section, so you can take certain logos and kind of do what you want with them, different color combinations.
Nice.
If you're a bar, you can add your logo to it. So we have a lot of different things, but really what we want, we're here to not only promote the brand, obviously, but we want to help promote the Burgh Cave. We want to help promote bars and beer distributors and fraternities and sororities and organizations and adult recess, all those kinds of. We want to be a part of all those things.
Yeah.
Because Beer We Go goes with all of that stuff. Because who doesn't like to have a beer with any of that? Everybody does. It just makes things more fun.
It does. It does. I mean, like I said, it's a common language of fun.
And there's a lot of stuff that we have planned.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff. But it's going to go gradually, baby steps. We are going to get this going, and the community, all the people that come to our promotions and the podcasts and things like that just helps grow even more. And then the word gets out, and then I like to travel a lot, so everywhere I go, I'm wearing Beer We Go stuff, and it's a conversation piece. People, hey, what's Beer We Go? Well, it's your official drinking apparel.
Yeah.
And then they're like, wow, that's really cool. Because they kind of know what it is. It's like,
Hey,
all right, I get it.
I drink. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
So,
who says outfits are only for going out to dinner?
Right.
Yeah.
And who doesn't love T-shirts?
Yeah, who doesn't love these T-shirts, right? Unfortunately, you're gonna have to pay for some of those T-shirts.
Yeah, absolutely.
I can't only give away.
So if we're gonna keep making them,
you gotta make.
I'm gonna have to sell them. But we're gonna have hats, sweatshirts, hoodies, women's. I was thinking it would be funny if we had kids, but they probably won't. But it would be Root Beer We Go.
Root Beer We Go. Yeah, exactly. Root Beer We Go. Whatever the non-alcoholic, like Bloody Marys or whatever they call those drinks.
Like a virgin daiquiri or a virgin,
or
a Shirley Temple.
Shirley Temple is what it is, exactly. My daughters love drinking that. I underage daughters for a little bit longer. Now I'm getting really old, and that's one of the things they like to order when we're in the restaurants.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna wrap up this. This has been a blast, and we can probably
I appreciate all your time, dude.
Yeah, we can probably talk on here for
But I will
hours.
say this. I want to tell you this though. Going back to what I said about I hadn't really ever listened to podcasts. When you told me that day that I met you and you told me about it, I went home and I watched almost every single episode as much as I could for whatever I had remaining of the day, and I was really blown away by the knowledge that you have of the game. And like we had joked, oh, well, you could be on it, and I got scared because I was like, I don't know football like these guys. I mean, the X's and the O's, and you know how to read defenses and run offense. Man, I know fantasy football.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know plays, I know players.
Coming this summer, by the way, fantasy football with this man.
27 championships.
That's right. That's right.
To help out. So we'll see.
Yeah.
But anyways,
he has to brag. He has to brag.
Those are for all those people that are in those leagues.
Credentials. It's not bragging. It's called credentials.
Exactly. Okay. And just to remind those guys that are in those leagues that I did win. But yeah, I blown away by the knowledge that you guys had, and that really made me even more engaged because now I'm learning something. Like when you say those guys that talk about hot takes and stuff like that, I've read so many different things. I'm a huge Ohio State fan, so I follow Ohio State football. I'm a huge Steelers fan and fantasy fan, so I follow those kinds of things that go with that. But when you're really breaking it down, like that was a whole different thing for me to learn, and it's really interesting because I like playing Madden with my stepson.
Sure.
And when you're telling me certain things, he doesn't know this, but I start using that knowledge to make sure that I win because he's really good. I haven't played video games in so long, so I try to keep up, but it gives me a little bit of an edge, at least to get back into it so I don't get destroyed 40-0.
No, I appreciate those kind words. It's definitely something that we try to do. We always tell people when GB and I and Juan and the others, like Lars and Flash Flood, Jeff as well, and everybody else who's on and talks ball. We just want to give a different perspective. So I can really speak, and everybody comes on is great, or else I would not have them on. The people that come on the Burgh Cave are first and foremost great people. They're not hot take people. They don't care about going viral and things like that. They want to come on and talk ball. I could talk about GB and Mr. Wonderful as well because I've played with those guys. We've shared the field, we've shared helmets, we've shared blood and sweat tears together. Um, those are the guys that when they talk, we want to just give you and the fans, especially some of the Yinzers who can get overly emotional on certain things, and I get it and I respect it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a different view or a different take on the game that you can take, and like you're talking about, add it to your knowledge. And when you're talking with your friends, or whether even if it's Madden with a stepson, or you're going to a cookout. Not that we are right or wrong all the time. Listen, there's times we're wrong all the we're wrong a lot. It's just like any fan.
You're like
But
a weatherman.
right, just like the weatherman, flash flood. Um, but we would like to think it's a different, well, we like to say non-emotional take.
Mm-hmm.
We understand, like obviously, the whole things with Tomlin and the Steelers. We get that. We get the criticism, but if you take emotion out, and we like to think that's what we provide people. And when we talk about it, and obviously a little bit of humor,
Mm-hmm.
as you would if you drop in a conversation with high school buddies, there's that chemistry. You know what I mean? There's that bouncing back and forth. We know when to cut each other off. We also know when to talk and let them cook, if you will. Right? That's the thing. That's the kids say. So we like to think it's a different conversation. And my only thing I will say in closing with the Burgh Cave is I think, and this is why I will toot our own horn for a little bit because I'm very humble. I don't think we're anything special like that, but I think the reason the Burgh Cave is not viral right now is because we're not doing hot takes. We're not out there saying stuff just to get people's reactions.
Right.
That's not what the Burgh Cave's about. And I remember that's what I like about Beer We Go. You're true to your message. The Burgh Cave is true to our message when it's just good, honest ball talk. And there's people that will flock to that. And our audience is growing. And I think a lot of them are really starting to appreciate the Beer We Go stuff. And I can't wait to be able to put Beer We Go stuff with some Burgh Cave events coming up, which is also coming up as well. And it's just a really cool community that we're building. And I'm very thankful for everybody that's tuned in and contributed to our live podcast shows.
What's one of your favorite times of doing the Burgh Cave? Like, you were just like, I am so glad that I did this. And man, this is going to be fun. Like, what was one of those times whenever you're doing a show?
Oh, man.
Or even just setting up for a show?
No, that's a great question. It's honestly, I will tell you this. This has stemmed over to multiple instances on the Burgh Caves live Monday nights on YouTube and on X. I didn't go to Pitt. Okay. I'm a Pitt fan, but I didn't go. Through Harry Paceros, I met JJ and I was brought on. JJ asked me to do his shows because we talked, and he's, again, what you're talking about, he liked my knowledge of the game. And I was very appreciative of that. And I went on his show. And the funny thing is, like, hey, you mind if I give you like a little bit of a film snippet? Because I want to really show people this is why Pitt won the game, or this is why Pitt lost the game, and things like that. I'm literally holding up my phone to my TV, recording it, and then sending him a direct message through X. He brings it up on a screen share on the StreamYard, and I'm breaking it down, and JJ's doing a great job doing this, and that. What he had told me, the amount of positive feedback he got, and how people really, really enjoyed that. And you can see right now, I still get goosebumps with this.
That's awesome.
I am, because there has been many times in circles of friends, not the friends that you see regularly on this show, that I've been told I'm arrogant and I think I know everything. Just because I present a different viewpoint.
But you're confident in it.
But I'm very confident. I've never said that I thought that I know everything. But what I'm getting at is the feedback that came through JJ from the Pitt community and the Pitt fans that wanted me back on their show, knowing I'm not a Pitt man, but I'm just a fan. I am so happy that's what I did, because I'm like, you know what? And then when we spilled over into the Burgh Cave, and we have people that come on here and they're putting their comments in there, and we probably have about 30 or so that are regulars. And then we'll get people that look here and there for the lives. And I believe they check it out. Because not everybody's available every Monday night.
Right.
But they'll go back and see. But the interactions, and whenever we stop and GB and I will talk for a while, Juan will talk, whoever, JJ and Harry will talk, it's cool whenever we're reaching people out there and we're giving them an avenue,
Yeah.
because we have heard many times that, well, you guys are just real. You're not trying to promote your individual brand on TV. You're not over there doing stuff. We thoroughly enjoy your conversations. So it's been a few times in that, but it started in the pit community and it has bled over to the Burgh Cave. And I'm just beyond thankful for that, because that's why I wanted to start the Burgh Cave. The biggest man cave, virtual man cave, because people just honest ball talk, and who cares about stupid? Go get this guy just to get makes just so people can reply to you saying you're stupid.
Yeah.
I don't. Again, for people who do that, that's fine. Do your own thing. Get the clicks and all that stuff. Just not what we're about. So if you like that type of talk, that's what we're about. But that was a very, very cool moment.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was
Very
pretty good
cool
stuff.
So I'll tell you mine. One of the things, so of course, I'd like to build this thing for my family.
Yeah.
I'm fortunate enough to have my daughter is real into art, so she sometimes helps me with some of the logos and things and stuff for our social media. So I love that. But one of the really cool things that I got to do was, because I'm a huge Ohio State fan, because I'm a huge Steeler fan, the fact that I got to meet Will Howard.
HAHRD.
Hard. Will Howard.
By the way, that's a hot button topic on the social medias for absolutely no reason, by the way. But please.
But because, so being an Ohio State fan, him coming to Ohio State from Kansas State, what sold me on it was the 70-yard run that he had against, I believe it was Texas. And then he came, I was really excited after that when he came to Ohio State. And then he ends up winning a national championship. I mean, that was amazing. And then for him to be drafted by the Steelers was just,
and he wanted to be drafted by the Steelers.
I know. And to want to play for that team and to be asked to join that team has got to be amazing. And then I got to meet him, the first thing he said to me as I walk up, he's like, "Here we go." And I was just like, I can't. It's like, you know, whenever they say never meet your heroes.
Yeah.
Well, their heroes are obviously not Will Howard, because that guy is an amazing person.
He seems like a good dude.
He really is. He really, and you know, very, very nice. He was very nice to my daughter. You know, we all got to get a picture with him, gave him a couple T-shirts. He signed my Ohio State Here We Go shirt. That's nice. That's really awesome. I can't wait to frame that. That's like I got my VIP ticket. I got the picture. I got my shirt. I'm gonna have all that in the frame and everything. So I love that. That's,
you got to go down to the Steelers store and get your Howard jersey.
Oh,
you got to get that number 18 jersey.
Well,
it might be worth something someday. We'll see.
It might, and there might be something coming onto the store very shortly that I think a lot of people might, especially if you're a Will Howard fan. I think you'll like these. Meeting Will Howard with my daughter and my dad, that was probably, and of this is, even if this goes nowhere, that was an amazing moment for me. I just absolutely loved it.
Follow Beer We Go. What was the website again?
beerwego.com, and also on Instagram at beer_we_go.
Perfect. Follow the Burgh Cave on X at Burgh Cave, as well as subscribe to this YouTube channel. Craig, appreciate you stopping by, brother.
Eric, always a pleasure, my friend.
All right. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. We'll see you guys on the next one. Take care.